on the Lakers. It came with a price to get the former MVP, as the purple and gold had to trade away Kuz, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick in this year's draft. It remains to be seen how the Lakers will fill out the roster around their new trio of stars as free agency begins later today. Chris Broussard, should LeBron and the Lakers be favorites to win it all after getting Russell Westbrook?
No. Heavens no. 1,000 times no.
Oh, wow.
All right? Now, if you want to say they're the favorites in the West, I'm not going to throw a hissy fit. All right? I'll give them a puncher's chance for several reasons. One, the talent, obviously, at the top is incredible. LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, okay? Two, we know how smart LeBron is, one of the most brilliant players, basketball IQ-wise, that we've ever seen in the league. So maybe he can figure it out. And three, look, the West is devoid of world beaters, okay? The Clippers, I don't expect to see Kawhi Leonard next season at all, even though I think he'll be back with the Clippers. So they're going to be down. Phoenix, Utah, Denver, they're good. None of them is scaring you, okay? They'll be there. They'll contend, but none of them is unbeatable, obviously. I do expect Dallas to take a jump with Luka. But again, who are they going to put around him and how are they going to fit around him? Portland, okay. Golden State will be improved. Put them up there with the Denvers and the Utahs and the Phoenixes. But there's no one out there that is just an absolute juggernaut that's going to scare you. And so I give the Lakers a shot in the West. But despite all the problems, and we'll get to this, I'll go in my second round, a lot of issues with Westbrook and LeBron and AD fitting together. I don't like the fit. I'll just say that. I don't like the fit at all, but I'll give them a puncher's chance. But if they get out of the West, I like Brooklyn. Brooklyn should be the favorite. I will give the Lakers this. If they get to the finals, that means they figured it out, and they will be tough. But Brooklyn should be the favorite. We saw that these guys fit together swimmingly. All right, their only problem last year was health. That's it. Now, maybe that could be a problem. But if we're saying every team in the league, Lakers, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Golden State, everybody's healthy, I'm going with Brooklyn as the favorites. It's not unusual for it to take a year for a big three to come together and figure things out. So Brooklyn is the favorite, and I give the Lakers a puncher's chance.
A puncher's chance. Can we put that on like a card and like hold it up? The Lakers with LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook have a puncher's chance, LeVar. I mean, that's comical, Chris. Look at the gambling lines, okay? The Nets are the favorites. We get it. But in the West, it's the Lakers and everybody else. The Lakers are the best team in the West. Chris, the reality is with Russell Westbrook, they're going to wreck the league in the regular season. They're going to be dominant. Don't worry about the age. I know we can argue health. The Lakers will dominate the West. I just want to remind everybody at home who's watching this, the Lakers led the Suns 2-1 before AD went down. If AD doesn't go down, Lakers are getting to the finals. That's just the reality. That is a fact. Lakers would have been in the finals. Now you add Westbrook, who is a consummate regular season player. They are going to be awesome this season. They're probably going to be a 60-win team, 55, 60 wins, assuming there's 82 games again. I agree with you, though, Broussard, on the playoffs. I don't know about the spacing. We will see. We'll do free agency shortly. But just to remind people, the Nets, okay, I think they had the big three for 7 games in the regular season. And if memory serves, they were the number 2 seed. So the Nets are going to be pretty dominant. But again, Kyrie Irving is about as fragile and brittle as Anthony Davis. The numbers bear that out. And then you have the Harden versus Westbrook, slight edge to Harden. I'm not a huge Westbrook guy in the playoffs, and the numbers back me up there, too. But ultimately, yes, Chris, Nets number 1 to win the finals, but the Lakers are a clear 2. There isn't even anyone remotely close to them. The Bucks, well, let's be realistic, they're not there. No, stop. Not the Bucks. LeVar, Lakers.
Why not?
Can you educate Broussard real quick?
Well, because they're not. And here's the thing. I agree with the Brooklyn Nets scenario, but think about if we're lining them up, if we're matching this up, who offsets KD? I think Anthony Davis offsets KD. Who offsets James Harden? I think LeBron James offsets James Harden. Who offsets Kyrie Irving? I think Russell Westbrook offsets, Who am I talking about here? Kyrie Irving. There we go.
Kyrie.
And then now you got to go down low, right? Now this becomes a down low game. Who has the better opportunity of being better down low between these two teams is where I would look and say that's where the advantage is. I think when they added Andre Drummond, even though he disappeared in the last part of the playoffs just due to the style of play that was taking place, if you get into a series where you're playing against the Brooklyn Nets in a championship round game, Andre Drummond becomes a super, super critical piece to what's going on with the puzzle of being able to win a championship. I recall being on this very show with you and J-Mac, and even with Rick Bucher, and you guys said that the Lakers were the clear favorites to a maybe 1A, 1B Clippers to possibly come out of the West. Nothing has changed. If anything, they've improved by adding Russell Westbrook, and they might improve the culture of the team by letting someone like Kuzma go. Listen, Harold, you know, he could have been a better contributor. I think that he could have had a better season this year. But, you know, for what it's worth, to get a Russell Westbrook, you let that go. And obviously with KCP. But when you think about it, you mentioned spacing, Mac. When you think about this Lakers team, we're still hearing murmurs and whispers that DeRozan wants to still come to this team. I don't know how you make it work. Hill, it's been rumored. I don't know how you make it work from the resources and the assets that the Lakers have remaining. But when you're a winner and you have the opportunity to play at this high of a level, people find ways to adjust and adapt what they want to do to be able to get on teams like this. If they add one more guy, it becomes overkill that you think that they're going to do what they need to do to win another championship. As they stand right now today, they are still just as much a heavy favorite in my book when you look at it matchup-wise as the Brooklyn Nets. And the West is a much tougher side of conferences, if you ask me. So if they're the favorite in a much tougher side of the conference, then to me, you got to think that they're the favorite to be able to win it all right now, today.
Here's the challenge. All right, we've talked about why you think it'll work. All right, the challenge is their pieces don't fit. In Brooklyn, the big three fits together.
But a lot of people
James
didn't think
Harden
that
can be
at
the
first.
playmaker and set the table for everybody else.
But you're using 20/20 hindsight on this. That's 20/20 hindsight.
It's not. All three guys. No, it's not.
Sure it is.
I said
a lot of
from
people
it
had
was
the
a chemistry experiment.
Those criticisms were there in the beginning.
I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about a lot of people.
Okay. All right,
I'm talking about me. I felt like if James Harden would play the point and Kyrie would accept being the two,
Kyrie put him
I
at
thought
point.
it would work because Harden has those elite playmaking skills. And the key, LeVar, is all three of those guys could shoot. That makes it easier to fit together because when you're a great shooter, you don't have to dominate the ball.
That's true.
The problem with the Lakers is none of their three guys are great shooters.
Right.
LeBron is a good shooter. He's a streaky shooter. But Davis is not a good outside shooter. He's so-so for a 7-footer. But I don't like him out there shooting threes.
But they play defense and they can get to the rim.
He's
they play
30%
defense
for his
and they
career.
can get to the rim.
Russell Westbrook's not a defender. Russell Westbrook is a 30% career shooter. Now, so here's where the guys they add around them better be able to shoot. All right, they need to add major shooting around him. LeBron has always wanted the floor spaced. Westbrook needs the floor spaced. If they're going to go play old school basketball, add Dwight Howard, maybe keep Andre Drummond, play big and pound you, defense on one side, pound you on the other.
That's how they won in the bubble.
Then okay, you can try that against the three-point shooting of all these other teams. But no, they actually hit threes in the bubble.
KCP?
They didn't do it in the regular season. In the bubble, they shot well from three.
Yeah. They can't hit the same amount of threes they need. They were sized. They were too big for everybody in the bubble. That was the key to them winning that championship. Come on.
They've talked about LeBron playing power forward, AD playing center. AD needs to play center. But I think LeBron needs to be their primary decision maker in the half court. Westbrook can push the ball in transition. Westbrook can have the ball in his hands when LeBron's on the bench. That'll strengthen the second unit. But when those two on the floor, I like LeBron at the point. Yeah. I like Westbrook at the two, not shooting, catching and shooting, but catching and driving. And LeBron needs to be the primary decision maker, in my view, on that team.
So, yeah, the free agency stuff, I heard somebody, I don't know which one of you guys mentioned DeMar DeRozan. That's a bad idea, okay? He's another non-shooter. It sounds like DeMar DeRozan is going to follow Kyle Lowry to Miami. Heat could be nice. But I think we're looking